Thank you very much for this smooth and fast transition. I would like to give the floor first to Meryem. Meryem, I think you have a presentation. You will give it from up here. It would be great if you could share the experience that the organization had with regard to obtaining the national accreditation from the GCF, and what your challenges were, and maybe you have a few secrets to share with colleagues from other countries that are in the process of being accredited. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So firstly, I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me to share the modest experience of Morocco on direct access to climate finance. So before to start sharing with you the steps undertaken by our agency in the process of access funding, I would like to mention that the institutional arrangements and the good governance are very important. And I would like also to highlight two important things in our case. The first one is the launching of the Green Morocco Plan in 2008 as an ambitious strategy to build the agriculture sector within clear and quantified objective in space and time, which will be extended until 2020. And so through two pillars. Pillar 1, focus on modern agriculture with high added value, and the Pillar 2, based on direct government intervention, aiming the revival of traditional and solidarity agriculture. The second point is the launching of the Agriculture Development Agency within the Ministry of Agriculture, which is responsible for managing and supervising the portfolio of Green Morocco Plan, and with a major mission to leverage innovative funds not covered by the government of Morocco. As a first step, and building on our experience on mobilizing funding through multilateral agencies, the ADA was rewarded by its accreditation by the Adaptation Fund on 2012, which allows us, as the first Moroccan NIEs, to implement a project, concrete adaptation project in the agriculture sector, and the other one. As a second step, in 2015, we got our first project approval, which aims to build the resilience of Oasis area and the population to climate change, with a total amount of $10 million, which is the cap per country. So it was our first learning case on formalizing projects through direct access. As the direct access allows the entities to implement their project within their national procedures instead of adopting new procedures required by other agencies, and that might seem complicated sometimes. Many other sectors and institutions show highly their interest to get access funding through our agency in addition of our proper portfolio. So the needs and expectations are huge. So for that, we had to look for an additional other sources of finance. We were lucky enough when I attended an adaptation fund side event at the CAP 20 in Lima, where the JCF was invited to present their accreditation process. That's where the real story starts. With a lot of enthusiasm, and just after 2 weeks after the accreditation, we initiated the process of accreditation with the GCF, which lasted exactly 9 months of hard work, slept nights, or get up early to attend the call conference, to reply on emails, due to the time lag between Morocco and Korea, which is 8 or 9 hours. So we had to sacrifice our vacation and the family lives for this period, but in the end, it's worth it when you see the good results. So right after getting the accreditation, we started developing several concept notes, and we prioritized 2 projects as was recommended by the GCF Secretariat that we present on the Direct Access Workshop on Songdo in April 2016. At the same time, we carried out all the required studies, but in the budget by the government budget. And in June, we received the GCF Secretariat experts for field visits to one of those two priority projects, which is the promotion of argan orchid in degraded environments, which was identified as NAMA in agriculture sector in Morocco. This mission, which was in Ramadan period, and where the temperature was more than 46 degrees, but the motivation of all the project partners, especially beneficiaries, was very high, and we worked continuously. So this mission was very useful because the Secretariat got a clear idea about the project and the local context of this project. The challenge was overcome, and we got the project, the approval of project on the GCF board meeting of October 2016 for a total amount of $50 million with the $10 million co-financing by the government of Morocco. We have just signed the funding agreement in March 2017, and we are dealing with the satisfaction of the suspensive condition made by the GCF board. Now we are working also on the entity work program that we had already submitted to the Secretariat, and which contains 12 projects with a total amount of $300 million. And just 2 weeks before coming here in Bonn, we submitted our readiness proposal to upgrade our accreditation level to meet the needs that exceed the cap of $50 million, for which we are accredited. So now coming to the challenges we had to face during the process of accreditation. The first major challenge is where that we were, maybe the first cobaye or a pilot, as we were the first national entity to go through this process. So we didn't have any procedures to learn from, but rather we were put under the lights. And on the other hand, the involvement of the other institutions seeking accreditation were dependent on our success or failure. The second challenge, which is closely linked to the first challenge, is the language barrier. In fact, as Arabic and French speaker, we had to deal with the double difficulty: understanding the template, the procedures, translating to the team, communicating in a call conference or in mail exchanging with the GCF Secretariat. This challenge that we are still dealing with, and I am dealing with now, and I would like to thank my two friends who helped me to do the presentation in English. The third one is that we have to formalize some procedures that we were already undertaken, but have to meet the necessary GCF requirements. The first and the last one was the limited technical and financial support at that time, because as we were the first entity seeking for accreditation, we had limited and we weren't able to get the GCF readiness support. The only support that we had is the GIZ support that I want to deeply thank for their supporting, for helping us to translate the fiduciary supporting document that required professional translation, to formalize our environmental and the social safeguard, and after the accreditation, to formalize a procedure manual to access funding to the GCF. So I have to say that at the end, those challenges were overcome, and the other success secrets that I want to share with you here relies on its high motivation, engagement, the proactivity of its very limited staff. We were just 2 persons who works on the process of accreditation, the team spirit, the top management flexibility. We didn't have any problem to have the approval of our top management, and besides, we had excellent coordination with the NDA, so we didn't have any difficulties to have the non-objection letters. But even those challenges, we have to say that we learn a lot from this process, and it is a continuous learning process. For example, Thanks to the adaptation fund accreditation, we were able to gain the JCF accreditation through fast-track process. And following our accreditation to the JCF, it in turn helps us to get the re-accreditation of the adaptation fund. I would like also to mention that sharing experiences between NIEs are very important, and that's what we are trying to do at the national level and also with other countries. And actually, we are helping or supporting some countries as the Republic Democratic of Congo on preparing funding proposal to be submitted to the JCF. So, I would just recommend for the JCF, as I was requested, to improve the process to access funding. As the JCF is a right undertaken now by recruiting French and the Spanish experts for the Secretariat and developing simplified procedures, required only as they do, already done, requiring only the English abstract version for some supporting documents instead of the whole document to make it easier for non-English speakers. Also to enhance the knowledge and experiences sharing between NIEs and the countries. At the country level, I recommend to build the capacity of all the potential entities seeking for accreditation, and also to benefit from the JCF readiness report and the raise awareness among all potential stakeholders. So at the end, and I want to tell you that just after days before coming here to Bonn, I visited the project area of the Adaptation Fund, where I met the beneficiaries, and I'm delighted to share with you, as I promised to them, their warm thanks and deep gratitude to every single person who contributed in one way or in another for contributing to improve the livelihood of the population and to ensure the stability of this community. So, on behalf of this community, I would like to thank sincerely all the contributors and all the negotiators advocating for the benefits of those vulnerable population. Thank you.
Thank you, Meryem, for sharing this experience, and it's good that it is a happy end. The beneficiaries, the ultimate ones, it's good to see that it's not just a matter of paperwork and being accredited, and it also shows that it's sometimes worthwhile to work and get up early in the morning and work on Saturdays and Sundays. Thanks a lot for sharing it.